of the night for day number 3, a PCS Apac number 3. It all comes up in threes, although for LG Divine, they're looking for number 5, win number 5 on Miramar.
Yeah, number 5 win. It'd obviously be beautiful if you're LG Divine, but how plausible will it really be when we've got all these other teams coming in and looking to take away the throne from Divine? We've got our top 5 players up at the moment, and we still see the likes of Buriram up in that equal number 1 spot with the likes of NAMC and Gen Foss. So even Gen Foss, VTR have been having pretty decent games. They're getting a lot of kills. Miramar, they're up in that top 5, so we'll be able to see if they can really pull out all the stops as well here and get some more points on Miramar.
LG Divine, 65 points here on the rankings to the right-hand side of your screen. The next best is 30, with 3 teams, Shampa, Division X, and Cerberus. So those are the ranking points on Miramar so far over the first 4 Miramar games that we've seen so far. Down the bottom, though, not good news for the likes of Purple Mood, From the Future, Unicorn. For those guys, usually getting more of their points on Erangel. So they'll, of course, have to turn their fortunes around here on a map that hasn't really been quite fortunate for them. 113 points, that's where LG Divine are at right now. They picked up 2 points in the previous game. We do head north, which is a bit more of a hilly terrain, as Elfish Guy likes to label it, compared to the south side. Definitely more mountain up on the north side of Miramar.
What we've actually been seeing a little bit recently from these kind of circles is it going actually north side of Le Cobre area. So I'd be very interested to have one of those circles for PCS3, because they're always quite interesting, and especially in the APAC region would be very extra spicy. So it'd be nice to see something up there, but generally they kind of always just come back down to Crater Field sort of area, and you've got your sort of stock standard finishes. But I'd definitely be interested in having a bit of a spicy one.
Certainly been a while since I've seen Oasis as well as a finish. It's very difficult to see that one, or even just at least around the Oasis region, as you were saying, even just north of La Cobriera. But usually with this sort of circle, my bet would be either Crater or water treatment. Those tend to be, I guess, the staples as you coined it here. Watching Edie, though, for Buriram United Esports has just been amazing so far for PCS3 APAC. Really, as a whole, throughout 2020, I think a lot of the focus has been on Nordra. At one time, an MVP over in the Thailand series. God Meow's great. Kanaxi also gets a lot of the attention, but I think Edie has stepped up in terms of really grabbing the attention here for PCS3 APAC. And speaking of attention, well, no team gets as much of it than LG Divine, for good reason, and especially as we head over to Miramar, where they're averaging 16.3 points and 6.3 kills. Ridiculous stats for them. Obviously, the 10 placement points and the 6 kills is why they're averaging 16. But it's, if you're averaging 16 points a game, Edge, you're winning any tournament in any region.
Yeah, I mean, that's an absolute comfortable win. I think generally on average, the winning team is sort of like around 10 points across each map. Like, and that's if they're having like an absolute ripper of a tournament. So, and we do know Divine has been having an absolute ripper of a tournament. So they can carry that up, and they're going to be sitting pretty.
Couple of seat swaps there to Gypsy Danger for From the Future Bay, driving by San Martin and Hacienda. Tong K is going to be the first elimination of this game, though, and, well, it's never good to lose a teammate, but when it's arguably your best player, Magic Esport, are going to be up against it here for the remainder of the game. 4 minutes in, and you've lost Tong K, your damage dealer, your high kill getter, your initiator, and just your general star player. And now you've got the rest of LG Divine pushing on your position. This does not bode well. Valix is able to stay alive, though, avoid the brunt of that damage, get to the minivan as LG Divine start to sweep around the compound. Magic might get fortunate here if a player like J-End or Jun push a bit too early and get knocked early. They can go down, and that's going to make it very difficult then for LG Divine to continue this push. But it's LG Divine who are the ones being aggressive, getting the knock. They got the tag on the Umama, forced them away from the window. The nade goes in to confirm it. J-End throws the underarm as well, jumping on over Jun, and he's got backup as well. Look how quick they sweep through It's only Valix that remains. And without Tom K, Magic Esport were always going to be sitting ducks. Did get the knock onto Jun. But fortunately, JN was there. 4 early kills for LG Divine. And welcome home to Miramar.
Yeah, Divine really don't want to give up their lead right now. They're taking first circle breaches is such a big risk, but the reward is so strong right now, especially because they get such a central spot. They have Levi split off as well. We did see Bay up on the top hill above them. I thought Bay might have taken one for the team and tried to help out Magic in wipe out LG there, but they're just so strong. They absolutely swept them so quickly and with such ease. It's just brilliant to see a team in such good form.
Pick'em Challenge update as we continue to progress throughout the tournament. Obviously, Unicorn got a bunch of votes prior to the game's starting due to apparently having a rather a bit of a celebrity, I guess, as part of the roster. Unfortunately, though, I'm not sure if they're going to be receiving many more votes now that it's quite evident they're not going to be winning PCS through Apac. LG Divine, you would think at this point, have obviously the best chances. Klee doing a bit of a barrel roll with the Murado. That's not going to be flipped back up without some help. Of course, for LG Divine, they have now taken first place for the Pick'em Challenge. Buriram, Fury, not quite as close as maybe they were. PCS to Apac in terms of these challenge points. Of course, the date hasn't quite finalized yet. I could be wrong, Edge. You might know. I think it closes after tomorrow's game.
I believe so. I think after Europe has finished their game for Sunday, it will close up. So that'll be when you'd want to make your pick'ems and you can almost secure a top 3 placement. But obviously, you want that winning spot. So leaving it till the last second is probably the best way to go about it. Just don't forget about it. That's the only problem.
Yeah, exactly right. Obviously, leave it to the last second. Or at the very least, if you're voting for Apac, you may as well just leave it until tomorrow night. Results are done, and then you can vote. You'll still have a bit of time. So, obviously, right now, I'm not sure if I can actually recommend any votes, because at this point, it's only a 24-point gap from LG Divine to Buriram. But I would say the top 2 will be a very safe bet.
The top 2 should be pretty safe here. The likes of Fury, they've done it before. They can probably do it again. But even still, at the moment, I'd put it as too close to calls for the pack especially.
Bryn knocked down by IQ 500. Hasn't quite been the day that Ferox would have liked, especially after their turnaround for day number 2 last weekend. Bryn is going to be eliminated. Samoya will be revived. Quite a few deaths, actually, very early on. Surprising. I don't know, only 5, but on Miramar, 8 minutes in, on Edge. Edge. I think that's surprising. Typically, Miramar's the sort of map that you just see a bunch of knocks from a distance. Revives take place. Obviously, the fact that LG Divine wiped out Magic Esport is a large reason for that, but it's still quite staggering. And it really just opens up the map now. As we see with 14 seconds to go, there's so much of this map still available that if you are like an Angel Alliance still in El Pozo, really not much of a big deal unless it, say, hard shifts out towards the east. Then, of course, you're going to have a bit of a rotation. But any of those teams in the center are going to be happy, going to be fine. And even with this circle shift now, there's still a lot of real estate available, a lot of areas available. It does make Crater less impactful. Klee's going to be knocked by Belmoth for day trade, finished by Norans. Day trade on the board and another death to the tally. But water treatment sort of area is definitely going to be a factor. I'm not sure if we're going to get that Oasis finish, but around where Bay and LG Divine are located, really good positions, and Fury will make their way past Hacienda now.
The odds of it going up to that Oasis area is pretty much slim to none at this point, I'd say. Especially once you get to that phase 4 and it's going to force away the rocks. Unless we have 2 really hard shifts, I just don't see it happening. But we do have our leader at the moment, LG Divine, sitting very, very pretty in the center. Around them we have Division X and Hydra. So we do have the potential for a little bit of an upset here. LG Divine's compound isn't the best, but when you're getting fed, it doesn't matter where you are, really. So
yeah,
you just take that one on your stride.
Pick'em challenge code on your screen. You're quick enough to get that one in. Best of luck. As teams continue their rotations here for phase 2 of Miramar, which is usually actually a bit quieter than Erangel. Obviously, we had the LG Divine wipe on the Magic Esport, but outside of that, we go back to normality now. A lot of teams already situated early on. This is going to be a good circle though for Buram. They can get their edge of circle sweep style play at the moment intact around the water treatment area. I find that I would say Miramar is a harder map for that sort of playstyle compared to Erangel. A lot more open areas, a lot more open terrain. But they do have a decent compound out towards the east. In terms of where I think the action is going to take place, obviously towards the center here, LG Divine, they've actually had this position in one of the earlier Miramar matches, and they got completely fed onto this compound edge. From there, they went on and obviously won the game, which was surprising to me because the position that Bay are holding, I thought would actually be better because it's that higher ground elevation. In the end, somehow LG Divine came out with the win, though.
Yeah, the problem with Bay's compound late game is that teams can get in under your compound and sort of surround you and it makes it really difficult for you to actually get out of the compound. So that's the big advantage to playing on the low ground there. And it's really difficult as well to sort of run down a hill in the open where running up you've got less threats if your back's already clear. So might be why it's a little bit favored there, but we've still got a little while until I think a lot of the fighting will break out here, and Purple Mood's actually kind of prepared for if it goes north here, and I really, really hope it does. I'd love to see that circle.
Yeah, it can still go north, at least for phase number 3. Purple Mood situated just south of Oasis. Daytrade actually up north of Oasis at the moment. A lot of teams already pretty much at their compounds, at their locations. Everyone's quite settled. Not a lot of movement, more so just Daytrade rotating up north around Oasis. Angel Alliance just on the edge of La Cobra, and 10 seconds away from phase number 3. You can see on the map now, everyone's pretty happy with their locations. Very aggressive split from Ferox. They've got Sweet Soul over on the top of Crater, just trying to get as much vision as possible. And they are going to be quite fortunate with this circle. It is away from Oasis. It's on top of Bay. LG Divine don't necessarily have to move. Buriram will have to continue sweeping the edge of the circle, but I don't know if they can hold east of this circle, though. They'll be on the wrong side of the road. They'll be open to the likes of LG Divine. It's going to be tricky for them, but they might have to rotate up to the north side, play to those rocks, and look to get kills on Purple Mood.
Yeah, that might be the option for them there. Bay is actually sitting pretty here. Levi's looks like he is actually taking a bit of compound off Bay, taking the lower side of the shanties, as Levi's gets a kill onto 6X, rotating past their compounds, or from afar, I think, actually. So nice shots there from him, as From the Future is actually looking for a position as well. And it doesn't look like it's going to be going well, as Hydra Gaming has actually taken everything in the close vicinity to From the Future, but From the Future may just be going for this anyway.
Zuzu's continued on, just trying to go past, trying to get around and come in from behind and pincer them, but it's Triple X from the front. Does get Mickey, was flashed for a short amount of time. Rabbit's done well, did get a knock, but there is Zuzu, who did well to come around the backside here and get that pincer onto the two members of Hydra Gaming. Had a 2-2 split with 2N Robo and Simon at the warehouses, and unfortunately for Rabbit and Mickey, they're going to be the unfortunate two that did get pushed. Well, sense from above, trying to get involved, trying to steal a kill. Not going to be successful, though. Buriram, though, have actually held out to the east. They didn't go for that northern wrap. They're happy to just keep their current position, stay on the edge of the circle, see what happens for phase number 4. Obviously, for pretty much all of the teams that were out to the west, around to the south, they haven't really moved at all. In fact, there's been barely any teams moving. I dare say From the Future and Buriram are the only two teams that have really done much movement here for phase number 3. So again, another quiet circle here. 14.5 minutes into this match. We've got a minute until phase number 4, which is where I then expect everything to kick off.
Yeah, I definitely think it will. As soon as some of these edge teams get forced in, like you'd look at this circle and you go, all right, well, this kind of has to come hard south, get out the big unplayable rocks. So Purple Mood should be forced down, Daytrade will be forced down, And then you've got a lot of teams fighting for edge positions on that southern side as well from the north and west. So there's going to be a lot of fighting. Buriram's put themselves in a position on these outside ridges as we see now to sort of scout in and look towards the likes of Hydra and LG Divine. And if they can get a pick, that might be their go time to push in. And Canaxi's got an Orm, so you get hit by that bad boy, you're getting breached for sure here.
Purple Mood just found a knock earlier onto Veronica. Then Rocky Jims will get the flush. That's up north. Circle goes south, though. Right on top of Battle Arena Elites. Division X in a good spot, too, from the future. Their position that they pushed on before is in, so they will be able to get and reap the benefits of those rewards here. Now, Buriram have finally made the move. We have been keeping an eye on them, talking about them out east. It might be difficult for them to get past LG Divine. For the most part, they've got Pi. Levi is just going to send it out of here. Smart play. I don't know how Edie hasn't just run over Nordra so close, as Nordra is going to be knocked by Flood. Jun might be the one to steal the kill here. They're all just picking apart like vultures to a carcass, and it's actually Loki's who comes out on top for Bay, stealing Nordra. But I'll tell you what, Buriram have got 2 members in. Edie and Canaxi are in. God Meow making the last second dash over as well. If they can get all 3 into this sort of position, Buriram is a team that can play well with 3. They do have to deal with the oncoming Simon and Duan. That's not the way, though, to make an entrance. Slow movement. Edie with the Grows are up close, and it's just fodder. He's going to spot him in the smoke. A double kill for Edie. Does get knocked, though, for his effort for pushing out and being aggressive. It's Nam C from a distance who gets the knock. Canaxi quickly with a smoke. Does have this little fence, though, to at least block any other incoming damage, as God Meow's also still struggling to get over. And Buriram definitely sweating for it here in this match.
Yeah, Buriram getting a little bit gifted here as well with that, the 2 sets of 3 gear and the Orm and the Grozer. So they're sitting pretty at the moment in the way of armor, but we've got LG Divine, Jun on the push, looking to try and pick up anything onto Buriram right now. They want their closest competitor out of the game as quick as possible so they can move any points they get further on into this game.
Currently a 23-point gap between Buriram and LG Divine. Purple Mood also have got their eyes, and this is, of course, Miramar in a nutshell. You stand on top of a ridge and suddenly 10 people can see you all at once, so you cannot be standing still at any moment, at any time. 1 minute and 20 seconds until phase 5. We probably haven't even seen the full effects of this phase 4 circle going south. Still a lot of teams that do have to make their way into better positions or even into the circle in general, like this Day Trade team who are just banged up and wounded at the moment. They've had a very rough PCS 3, and that pickup truck has seen better days. It's missing a tire. It's got 2 injured players. Belmoth has been knocked. Day Trade are just struggling into this circle. They're limping in.
Yeah, and even where they pull up now is not a good spot at all. You've got Angel Alliance on the outskirts where you're needing to push in. You've got the likes of Division X on the high ground that are going to be gatekeeping you every second of the day. So it's not really looking very likely that Day Trade can make it into this next circle, but they're going to be trying. Maybe if they go down towards Unicorn Cyber, that might be their only avenue if they can take the fight against them and potentially pick that up.
Angel Alliance will have to cross this road as well. Day Trade are going to make it difficult for them. They've been quiet, Angel Alliance. Mad Dog, who was exceptional on day 1, has suddenly gone very, very cold. Evil Patrick, though, with a bit of help from Nan, we'll be able to get Norin's eliminated. Pooh Chills is gone too, and well, so is everyone from Day Trade Gaming down into the bottom 4 for a team that's usually competing in the top 6 or 7 positions for PCS throughout 2020. Certainly having a bit of a shocker so far. Hexagon will get the revive of the Gypsy Danger. We've seen phase 5 now, right on top of Victim Rise. Rain's in a good position for Ferox. Just needs the reinforcements from Monty and Sweet Salt. Ferox playing with the 3 this game, as Angel Alliance will begin their trek over the road towards Division X Gaming. Evil Patrick leading the way. He's actually been able to make it over pretty safely, unscathed. Although I would imagine Division X know that he has pulled up close by, as Triple X keeping his eyes on Unicorn in this warehouse. As the rest are from the future, will of course want to pick up a few kills here.
Yeah, and it looks like they're their efforts to pick up some kills is kind of being set behind a little bit now as Purple Mood's starting to make their way up the hill as well. So in the future, not as safe as they would have liked. Shots come out towards Unicorn Cyber, but nothing to come of it just yet. Unicorn Cyber looking to get deep while they can.
There's a big fight happening right now. You can see it in the kill feed. Sharper Esport versus LG Divine, and it's Sharper who are winning the battle. We do finally switch over to it now. Namc, the solo, and the Miramar streak has come to an end. Unless somehow Namc can hold on for the next 12 minutes or so as a solo. I don't even think he'll hold on for the next 30 seconds. Sharper Esports have done a tremendous job to beat out Levi's and Jun. 5 kills for LG Divine. So they are going to pick up 5 kill points, and it's a trend edge that we saw from PCS to Apac. Even in games that Divine don't do so well, they find kills. They get 5-6 points still to go into the back pocket. Cerberus are being aggressed by Fury. Nade is unfortunately not going to bounce any further from Waiki Kamukau. Isaki's going to be revived. Now over to Sevilla's point of view. God Meow just lands a headshot. Keeps him back for the time being. Namc underarm nade falls short. He's not going to get anything from that. In fact, he would have ended up blowing himself up anyway. That nade didn't even get over the crate. Now Cerberus, after getting the revive, they can push onto the compound of Fury. No kills yet for them. Nade might go too far and away. No? Yes? Hisaki's low. The Molotovs. No more nades now for Insight, but the Molotovs might do the trick here. Flood playing from inside this building. Might want to just dip out and actually have a bit better of a field of view. But then, of course, you take the risk for that. So Fury are basically just going to play defense and wait for Cerberus to push on in.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job of it so far, picking up Basil, getting the back player out, but Sololzi gets Ronan in trade. Waiki Kamukau has 3 players very close and can't get out that window, luckily to do so now. But Fury needs to get their man up, needs to take this as a 4v3. Don't want to lose any players here because it'll definitely hinder your progress into the next coming zones. And
yeah, this compound as well is in the next circle as well for phase number 6. We've seen it here. There is a lot of teams that you can't see on that minimap that are really far up north. There's probably about 6 teams, I reckon, not in this circle. It's going to get hectic over the next 5 or so minutes. Of course, starting here with Fury versus Cerberus. They can take their time. There's not so much of a rush in terms of the blue zone. Great dropping on top of Edie as he's driving by. Fury did get that revive, so they got 4 up right now. Here comes Buriram United, though. Edie from behind. They're walking into what is already a pretty significant ongoing battle. Edie's just going to get flushed, though, by Waiki Kamukau picking up that kill. God Meow, though, not deterred. Buriram had nowhere else to go, though. I think they might find themselves eliminated pretty quickly here. 3 kills down for Fury, 2 to Flood, 1 to Cow. They've still got to deal with Cerberus. God Meow ended up blowing out to Kamals from Victim Rise. They're at an 11th and unable to capitalize on LG Divine going out very early on here. So down to Fury, Sharper, Bay, to do their own capitalization onto LG Divine and Buriram's early departure from this match. And I think Fury have had enough. It's go time. They're going to get on the front foot here. No more defense. Now they switch to offense. Ronan pushes on to Hisaki. Takes a lot of damage. Insight was going to go around the back anyway. Look for that retrade if he had lost the fight. He didn't. He did lose to Sololzi, though. Jumping out of that window is always going to be tough. But Waiki Kamukau is on something right now, and they can get the revive onto Insight. Fury come out on top against Cerberus. A big fight to win edge. Not only do they get the compound, they stay alive in this game, but they can now capitalize on Buriram and LG Divine.
That was absolutely a must-win fight there for Fury. That allows them so much in this game. They've got the compound. If they can just get this into your top 3 placements with some more kills, they're going to be absolutely laughing. They're going to close the gap onto Buriram, make it a lot easier to catch up to Divine. We see from the future here, 1 player left remaining, putting up some numbers against Bay, but Bay gets eliminated in that 9th place. We're actually into our placement points. I didn't think we would a lot earlier, but Hexagon needs to do work and can't get anything done there as he gets taken down from Long K.
2 kills stolen as well, by the way, for Fury there from across the circle. They're up to 8 kills now as they get Sweet Soul. 3 quick points acquired. This is turning into a massive game for Fury. Looking for their second chicken dinner potentially as well. The fact that they're going to have 4 alive. The only other team with 4 up is Victim Rise, who have got a 2-2 split. Can you believe it? All the way down to this what is it, 7th phase, and they're still holding a 2-2 split. Samoy, Chibarit are going to have to eventually make their way over to Gemforce and Kamals. I don't know how they're going to do that, though, in such open terrain. 4 kills for Angel Alliance, though. I've been banging on it all night. But if Miramar is their map, and they're showing it, and they're bringing it here for the team from the Philippines, they have definitely enjoyed Miramar more than Erangel.
I would assume so, yes. And this circle as well, this actually really favors them because they can still play this high ground. I'm not sure how open it is to the lower comms, but we're going to see Fury looking like they're going to need to make a breach against the likes of Sharper. They're in the bang bus. They're ready to go.
Oh, man.
All the players loading up. This is either going to be... Well, this is just going to be straight mayhem here.
Say it how it is, Edge. Straight mayhem indeed. They do drop down to a very small little bowl. It's actually a very large bowl, but the elevation is not so great. They have got 4 players up, not going for the immediate breach. I think this actually really highlights the difference between, say, an Oceanic team and a team like, for example, LG Divine and Buriram. Those teams would have just breached to Sharper by now, as we saw from Buriram earlier. We've seen from LG Divine many times. Fury, though, a little bit more conservative. They want to hold. They want more information. They need to see more before they go for that, breach. Fortunately, if they do, and when they do, push on to Sharper Esport, Sharper Esport have only got 3 players up right now. Tanoi's got 4 of 6 kills, has been fragging out, but they are going to be at a disadvantage here, Sharper. They're the only team with 3. In fact, Victim Rise, Angel Alliance, and Fury all still with 4 players up here as the final 4 teams here for match 3 of day 3. And Angel Alliance have come to the fray here on Miramar like I thought they would. Victim Rise also doing well, keeping their place in the top 10. And that top 10 has started to form a bit of a gap from the teams in 11th and 12th and 13th as well.
Yeah, what we'll be seeing from the likes of Fury here is, and it also, I'm not sure if Angel Alliance has got a vehicle, but is able to get a knockout on either one of these compounds, that'll be their go signal. They really don't have much to play with here as Flood actually gets a knock onto Nam on the opposite hill. But that's what they'll be trying to do. They'll try to go for that knock, and if they can get one, that's their go signal to make that breach.
Problem is they can't really put any pressure onto Sharper Esport. A lot of it's just onto Angel Alliance right now. The smokes are out, and a lot of that's just going to obscure the vision of Sharper Esport more than anything. Throw most of it at the compound, a little bit at the start. Don't even worry about the middle of this field because you're just going to be driving through it anyway, really. Victim Rise, Angel Alliance, how much pressure are those 2 teams as well going to pile onto Fury? This is a really well-played smoke, although the driving skills of Wayne Kikamuka on the minibus certainly leaving some questions here. Kim Silver does have a nade, brought it back to the barrel though, takes a bit of damage. That would have been from the backside. Victim Rise or Angel Alliance, for instance, as well. But Fury have at least made it to some cover. Flood finds a knock. They're not inside of this next circle though. The blue is moving. They've got 50 seconds to basically deal with Sharper Esport, or at the very least, push in, make some room. You're going to have to fight it out. They can't hold this position forever. Flood, though, gets 2 kills against Angel Alliance. Fury are up onto a killing spree, and they're into the top 3.
Yeah, this is absolutely perfect for Fury here. They've put themselves within 1 point of Buriram now. This breach is kind of looking good for them as well. Sharper is very segregated in the compound while Fury's sorting out their loot here. But if they can separate the 2 players from the 1 player in the open building, then this will be a really good good breach for them.
As I said it before, the disadvantage very much with Sharper Esports. Tanoi, though, from that little balcony could spell disaster for Fury. And Victim Rise are just getting set up here as well. They understand the situation too. And Victim Rise have got 4 up. They're kind of like the final boss. They can also, of course, still impact the current fighters. They've got the knockdown onto Kim Silver. Ronan does get caught, but he's going to be the aggressor. He's got a bit of help as well if the retrade is required. White Kick Kamukau's there. He gets the knock, but it's Flood with a team knock as well. Kamal then knocks Ronan, and all of a sudden Fury go from 4 standing to 2.
Yeah, it's not looking good, especially with all this pressure that VTR's putting on now. VTR up close and personal. Insight goes to finish the fight against Sharper, but will get taken out. So it's all left up to 1 player now.
Oh, wow. That's not the way that Fury would have liked to end the game. A great game nonetheless, but it's Victim Rise who come away with the chicken dinner. anticlimactic a little bit towards the end, but well played from Victim Rise pretty much for the most of that game. They held a nice 2-2 split all the way till phase 7, really increasing their chances of getting that circle luck. Kamal's, Chibaret, 3 kills apiece. Well played to them. And I believe it is their first chicken dinner so far for PCS3 Apac. Indeed it is. That's going to, of course, bump them up the standings into the top 6. They are close to Bay, who are in 5th, only 3 points behind them. So a big